Hello, friends. My name is John Finnegan, and I'm here with Heather Cummings. And Heather is the CEO of a nonprofit with the initials SSAAP, which stands for the Simwatachela Sustainable Agricultural and Arts Program. And Heather, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are currently in Zambia, is that correct?
I am. Yes.
And
yes,
where
I'm in
are you?
Zambia. Um, yes, so I'm not in my home in the village. I'm at a very sweet local guest house in the town of Livingston,
Yep.
which is about 13 kilometers from the Zimbabwean border.
Yes. And by the way, I misspoke earlier. Your last name is Cumming, not Cummings, correct?
Yes, and my Scottish ancestors would correct that. There's no S on the end, and our Scottish kilt, there's no S on the end, and Simwatachela is the pronunciation of my project, and I am technically the executive director because the executive director is for a nonprofit and the CEO would be for a profit organization. So that it's basically the same thing. It's just a little technical difference that my mother always corrects me.
Okay. Thank you for that. Simwatachela, that time you put an accent on the E. Is that a city? Where does the name come from?
Thank you. Thank you. It's a chiefdom. It's a chiefdom in the southern province of Zambia. And I can say it's probably the size of a small New England American state.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
I come from Dayton, Ohio, the home place of aviation and the Wright Pat Museum. And I was born and raised there and lived there my whole life until I was 20, and I moved to Colorado.
Heather, you and I are just getting to know each other. We first met because I chair, along with my co-chair, Dr. Blair Gifford, at the University of Colorado, the World Community Service Committee, the largest committee for the Denver Rotary Club. And you, on behalf of your organization, ask us to fund a program. And the specific projects were to dig wells, to hand dig wells in 5 villages, which is one of the many things that you do. And you were so kind to get on Zoom and to represent your organization and those communities. And I was so taken by that. We had an opportunity to see your home. We had an opportunity to meet your daughter. And that's why I reached out to you to do this interview. So thank you so much.
I had so much fun on that Zoom call because it was one of my office hour days for my project, and I had to close the office early, and people don't usually leave before dark. So I had to like push all these people out, and they were wondering what I was doing that was so important, because they always know that I put them first above everything. So that day I put them second. And I said, I get to see all of these people in Denver, and I'm asking them to help me with the water wells. And I don't know, that was just such a special interaction. I was happy for days after that. I felt so touched.
You know
And
what?
really special.
We were too. There are between 30 and 40 people on this committee, and they're so gifted, they're so talented, and more importantly, they're so committed to having an impact on the world. So we can be at home and raise money and evaluate projects through the Rotary Club and then distribute these funds, but you're on the front lines. You're hiring the contractors who dig the wells. You're determining before that the need in the community. Which communities have the need for whatever it is that we're trying, whatever problem we're trying to solve. So thank you so much. What a great partnership.
It's a beautiful partnership, because I feel really honored to be in the field. I've always thought like field work takes some qualities that they're not necessarily better or worse than doing office, but field work there's a depth of patience that has to be part of working in the field in Africa, because nothing works as you would expect. And you have to have resilience. You have to have patience and resilience and trust. And it's taken me so long. It's taken me 17 years of being here. And I'm still not to a point of mastery on this by any means. It's going with the flow.
Right.
Like things don't go as I planned. Then I try plan B. And, you get to plan Z. And then at the end, it's like, sometimes I'm on double plan A.
Right. Yeah.
Double plan B. But there's nowhere else rather be than in the field implementing the project. And I know that throughout all the times that I'm not in the field, when I'm not in my village with the people, directly with the people, sharing a meal with them, sharing an afternoon with them, sharing an experience with them. When I'm not, and there needs to be an office aspect of my project where I'm working at my computer and I'm interacting and sending out my newsletter. But the majority of what I think is needed in Africa is field work. Mm-hmm. Because you can't understand Africa from the internet or a course, even the best professor.
Right.
You have to be here.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of physical discomfort too. Yeah. I would say that. Yeah. Physical discomfort.
Right. Before we get too far down that path, I wanted to share with you that
yes.
I grew up in Cleveland, and my undergraduate work was largely done at Kent State University. So I'm very familiar with Dayton, and so we share that in common growing up in the Midwest. But I came to Colorado in 1980. When did you come to Colorado?
That's so funny. In 1999/2000.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. So what prompted the move to Colorado?
My best friends, mm-hmm. We finished high school in Ohio, mm-hmm. and a group of them decided that they weren't going to go to college. Mm-hmm. Had residency in Colorado, mm-hmm. because his parents owned a home there.
Yes.
So he went to university.
Right.
The other friends were in a rock band, and my best friend and I we went to college for 1 year in Cincinnati, and neither of us was exceeding or excelling or flourishing. And we decided that we would move to Colorado to be with all of our best friends. So we had almost like a family of friends.
Yes.
And that year was the year I knew, not society told me it would mean, not what my parents wanted it to be, but
Right.
what it meant to me.
Right.
I was a dentist. I had my own way. I had to take night courses.
You're back. So
I'm back.
Yeah, for 15 seconds, you disappeared. You had to
Oh,
take
okay.
night courses, and that's
Yes.
the last we heard.
Yes, and I had to pay for those night courses myself.
Sure.
Because I had to raise my GPA.
Right.
And because that was what my parents decided, was that I would have to take care of myself.
Yes.
And I grew up in that year. Because my parents cut me off, and I had to be responsible.
We're having a little technical difficulties right now, but I wanted to also ask you, as we're on this topic of education, you went to the University of Colorado. It says on your resume that you were a study abroad advisor in 2002. Okay, we paused the recording for a second so that to give the Wi-Fi an opportunity to catch up with us because of this long distance. Heather, what I was saying is that you went to the University of Colorado in 2002, and it says that you were a study abroad advisor. So you really, at an early age, had an interest in what was happening in the world. And then in 2004, you joined the Peace Corps. Is that correct?
Yes. I used Peace Corps to get to Africa.
Yeah.
I've ever accepted a Peace Corps invitation to go anywhere else.
Right.
If they invite you apply, and they send you an invitation, Asia or Eastern Europe or South, and I would have declined. The 3 choices of where in the world that you want to go, and my choices were Africa, Africa, and Africa.
Because? Why?
I knew that it was waiting for me. I knew that it was waiting for me,
Right.
and that I had to be part of it.
Yeah. And you went to Zambia. That's how you got to Zambia. Now, remind me, I can't remember if Zambia or Sierra Leone were called Rhodesia during that period of time. Talk to us about that, if you would, please.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, definitely. On Cecil Rhodes, northern Rhodesia is the present day Zambia. Then you've got the Great Zambezi River.
Yes.
Right there. And then you've got Zimbabwe, which
Yes.
is the former Southern Rhodesia.
Right.
And the Southern Rhodesian capital used to be Salisbury. And what it was that, so Rhodesia is huge. You've got Northern Rhodesia and Southern Rhodesia. And there's really nothing in the north but copper. And in the south, you've got all these resources. And that was why in 1964, Northern Rhodesia, so Zambia, very, very easily got independence from England. We were a British colony because nobody wanted us. There was nothing here. It was just copper.
Right.
And so it's almost like Zambia was never colonized.
Right.
Got the colonization with the English.
Yes.
Like, and Zambians tend to speak really well in English. They're good at English because they learn it from a young age.
Yes.
But otherwise, you don't feel these stains of colonialism the way that you feel in every other part of Africa I've ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
You can intuitively feel the colonial stain.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I've never felt it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of this abandoned part of Africa that nobody really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And because of it, we have eternal peace here.
Yeah.
We've never had a war, ever. It's one of the only parts of Africa that has never had war, is Zambia.
That phrase colonial stain really is powerful, and there's so much, so it's so deep. There's so much behind it that we could take the next 10 hours talking about, because you have a very visceral understanding of it.
Well, feel what I'm calling this colonial stain. I never felt it when I was in Zambia. I felt it when I went to Sierra Leone.
Right.
For the first time in 2007. And I went there because I had a really good friend. She was getting a PhD at the University of California in Davis. And she asked me to go help, almost like a summer camp program for these orphan children on the eastern border, the Sierra Leonean Liberian border.
Right.
There were all of these kids who had been orphaned from the Civil War.
Right.
$100. And I just couldn't believe $200. I would get $200 if I did this. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, someone's going to pay me something.
Right.
So she paid for the air ticket. She paid for my yellow fever vaccine.
Yeah.
And that, I remember stepping off the airplane in Sierra Leone and feeling like a charge, almost like an electrical charge,
yes,
run through my body. And it was like, this is somewhere I need to be. And I knew the first day I got there that I would do a second project in Sierra Leone.
yes.
I knew I would extend my Zambian project to Sierra Leone because it's almost as though Sierra Leone is still colonized by the British. They never wanted to let it go because you've got every natural resource, every precious stone,
yes,
every mineral except turquoise. You won't find turquoise there.
Right.
You've got diamonds. And, you know, to the local people, a diamond is nothing to them but just a stone. They can pick it up, throw it. They don't care anything about what a diamond. It's the West that's brought meaning to that stone. They don't care. And, you know, it's so funny that it has no value to them until the West, you know, until the West came there, they started mining. There's that really good, really hard movie to watch called Blood Diamond with Jennifer Connelly and Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo does such a good job of being the South African diamond trader. He does such a good job.
I enjoyed the film too.
We had a horrific war there.
Yes.
And pardon?
I enjoyed that film too. Yeah, I agree. It was well
But you
done.
can feel on it was a, it was really well done.
Yeah.
You can go there are marked so local people will guide you. You can go visit the areas where the Portuguese were the first colonialists.
Yes.
And they had a war with Britain, and then Britain won that colony. And the Portuguese slave ships, when they first came,
Yes.
we have like a dock.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, my daughter and I sometimes just go sit on that dock. And there is just a very powerful energy of mass, deep human suffering. You feel it. How many hundreds? Are we 600 years later? We can feel that. And one of the towns that we work in you can get to it through the sea and then a river. And it's like a salty river with seawater. And all along in Port Loco, there's these little slavery cells. And they're little like chambers. And it's, you know, not even the size of a typical American bathroom. Like in the States, the way they build homes, not even as big as one US bathroom in a typical house. They put 40 to 80 people in this little damp, dark cell. And you go inside and you can even get chills. It's as though no time has passed. And just the implications of what that has on modern society is that we can advance to a point, but if we're not willing to heal all these layers of the past, then the future isn't going to be as abundant. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's a great deal of forgiveness, I think, that we have to ourselves. Those who bear Caucasian skin,
Yes.
we have to forgive ourselves, and we have to love ourselves, and we have to learn from the past. And we can't hate our race, we can't hate ourselves. We have to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of Africans are very they don't look at colonialization the way that we do.
Mm-hmm.
They're grateful that they had it.
You know, a good friend of mine, just this.
They're grateful because of the Western influence that it gave them.
We had a little delay
Please.
there. I apologize for talking
Please.
over you, but yeah, so you stopped talking and then your voice came through. The timing of your statement is good for me in that a good friend of mine recommended the book White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, which I got in Audible form from the library this past week. So I love your statement that we have to forgive ourselves. Maybe that's the starting point, and then you're fleshing out a greater understanding on the other side of the planet right now. So the timing is terrific. Thank you for that.
I've just, what I like to do, I like to travel and learn from, they are my internet, they are my library. So many Indians and so many Africans who are very thankful for colonialization because it gave them an idea of Western thinking and Western can't find. The way that Westerners work. Okay. So it gave the Africans or the Indians sort of an inside way at the way that Westerners work.
Yes.
Like, we have a target, we always have a goal, and we take steps and make programs according to achievement of that goal. And
go ahead.
Achievement of the goal and follow through of promises. And I mean, everyone you talk to is so different. You know, you meet someone that thinks that colonialization was the worst thing that ever happened to Africa. And then you'll meet another African that says, without colonialization, we would still be living like we were 600 or 500 years ago with no change.
Right. Yes.
Everybody just has their own personal truth. And the way that we learn from others is just listening to where they're coming from and where their truth originates, and not judging people because they don't agree with us. That's where we go wrong. I can tell you that most Sierra Leoneans loved Gaddafi. A lot of Zambians love Mugabe, or loved the late Mugabe. We have a different view in the West. It's based on our location, on our geography, on our politics, on our upbringing. And it's important, I think, when we keep our mind open. Keeping the mind open means keeping the heart open. The heart controls the mind. Yes. Okay. Right. The heart is the heart has to stay open. Are you still there?
I'm here. Yes.
Good. Okay. Okay. Good. I see you move and I'm happy because you're still with me. The heart controls the mind.
Yes.
So we want to keep our minds open. We must keep our hearts open.
Yes.
And I don't think we realize that as
Right.
human beings. I don't think we realize that the mind functions because the heart does.
Yes.
It's very easy to close when we're presented with things that are different than what we're used to.
Right. Let's talk about some of the specific projects that your nonprofit undertakes. And most importantly, who you do this work for and what the benefits are to the individuals and to the communities.
Yes. Yes. We can't do anything without water. Yeah. And that's why I've been over time, since I think was it 2013? Maybe 2014. My daughter was very little. I started asking the Denver Rotary Club for small grants to help me with water wells. Um, you can't tell people to go to school. You can't tell people that they should be doing more farming. You can't tell people that they should have better medical care if they don't have any water. Sometimes I do simple experiments. My daughter just picked 2 lemons off of the tree behind us.
Yeah.
And they smell really good. Sometimes I do simple experiments just to sort of see what it feels like for other people. So, like, one day my daughter and I will have the whole day we don't have any water. We don't drink water. We don't wash our hands. We don't wash our
Go ahead.
Feet
Mhm.
or clothing
Mhm.
or anything, just to see how it feels for a day.
Yes.
And it's like you can't imagine how bad you feel.
Right.
You didn't drink water, you didn't, or you could do the same experiment with dirty water.
Right.
And even an American could do it. Don't use your tap all day.
Right.
Fill up your bathtub with water and then use that water all day. And that's all that you have, and just see how it feels. And it's horrific. And that is the state that these people are used to existing in. I respect that they can survive this way. And it makes them even more powerful that they can. But that doesn't make it right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? That's the Shakespearean rub, where he says, there's the rub. There
Right.
it is.
Right.
Is that just because they can survive this way, it doesn't make it right.
This is the very reason why I wanted to have the conversation with you, because I live at a different level. The level is the wisdom of Rotary International, this 100-year-old organization over time, first began by identifying the need for water, then hydrologists digging wells, knowing where and how to do that, and then recognizing over time that sanitation and hygiene also needed to be added in order to achieve health outcomes. You just took us right down to that granular personal level that brought it home for me. So thank you for that.
Okay.
Any comments about that?
Well, yeah. It's the centerpiece of every project.
Yes.
Is this water piece. And I feel very lucky right now in Zambia. I've got a really amazing driller. He's a geologist and he understands rocks. And because he understands rocks, he understands water patterns beneath rock.
Yes.
And I always say to him, don't you look at trees? Don't you look at, XYZ component? And he says no, because trees are different based on different countries, different areas of the world. You have different localized trees.
Yes.
But rocks are universal.
Yes.
And so last year, we drilled 12 wells for SSAAP Zambia.
Yes.
Which was like an all-time record.
Yes.
And one of the wells we haven't finished because the rainy season came too quickly this year.
Yes.
So we're going to finish that up hopefully in the next 2 weeks. And then around the COVID period where COVID first hit, we were in Sierra Leone,
Yes.
and I think we dug 14 wells that year.
Oh, wow.
And two of them were for Rotary, for
Yes.
your Rotary Club.
Yes.
One of them, the village was named something of an orange tree, Bakalimre.
Mm-hmm.
It was a village named after orange trees.
Yes.
And the other one, I'd have to pull up the report, but we hired 3 different contractors to do the water wells in Sierra Leone because those are hand dug. We have a very high water level in Sierra Leone that we don't have in Zambia. Sierra Leone is just wet. It's just it's the wettest country in West Africa.
Yes.
So there's water everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The issue we have is digging a water well that doesn't get salt water. How do you like that?
Yeah, right.
Because of the ocean.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad we're taking this deeper dive. Is your daughter there, by the way? I'd love to.
She is, and I just told her to come. Brady.
Yeah, right.
She's shy, but she'll come.
Please tell me her name again.
Sure. Her name is Radiance,
Mm-hmm.
Gaia,
Mm-hmm.
Amara Cumming.
Okay.
And her second middle name is Amara, which is a common name in Sierra Leone.
Mm-hmm.
So in Sierra Leone, they just call her Amara.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets used to that name, and then we come back to Zambia and people call her Mumuni,
Mm-hmm.
which means light. In our local language, Mumuni means light.
Yes.
Because radiance is like divine light. Yeah.
So her name is in English Radiant or Radiance?
Radiance with a
Radiance.
C-E.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Radiance. C-E.
Yeah. Got
it. Okay. And so she's being a little bashful right now. How old is Radiance?
She's 11 going on 60 or 70. She's an 80-year-old grandmother.
An old soul, as we say, right?
Come, sweetie, come. And she's very like maternal. Here she is.
Hi, Radiance. So I remember you. You don't remember me, but I can't remember. Was it like 6 weeks ago that we met the Denver Rotary Club, received a presentation from your mother, and she did a terrific job, and you were in the room, and we had an opportunity to meet you then. So nice to meet you again.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah. You're frozen at this end, so I keep pausing it whenever we do that, just so we don't have post-production work. We're back again. Okay, I started the recording again as you had to reconnect. Radiance, that is a terrific name, and it really matches you because you are so pretty and so radiant yourself. I love the way you've done your hair today, and you've got a lovely dress on, and we saw you in the background climbing a tree earlier. I wish I could have those lemons. They look pretty good.
They smell so good. That's something like you see that they're huge.
Yes.
They're huge, and I wish you could smell them. Like we just rub them. They're so good, and these help so much even with illness. You know, we drink lemon tea every day.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. And what do you generally eat there? Is your diet similar to ours, or have you adopted a more Zambian-like diet?
What we do is we buy food in bulk and take it up to the village. And I would say that our staple food for my daughter and I is rice and beans. We variate it. Sometimes we make pasta. Because pasta keeps for a long time.
Yes.
But we never feel full.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes we'll make, if we have potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
we'll make like potatoes and eggs and scramble it together. But it's like we never feel full unless we've eaten rice and beans. And we okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
She wanted to go ask yeah. But what we like to do is take like dried beans and then put every kind of vegetable in the big pot. And then we add a lot of Indian spices.
Oh, okay, good.
And we keep it. Okay, babe. She said it was very nice meeting you, and she wants to bath gets dark because it'll get cold.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So
okay, you're back at my end. Can you see me?
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. She said it was so nice to see you, but she's bathing because it's about to get dark and then it gets really cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had heard that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what we do is we make this big pot of beans. And what we learned, because we don't have a refrigerator in the village, we don't have electricity. If you heat something maybe every 6 hours, so like twice in a day,
Mm-hmm.
if you heat something to boiling point, it has the same effect as if you keep it cooled in a refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
It preserves it.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
We like to cook like once and then keep that food for like a few days.
Sure.
And it's just so healthy.
Right.
It's so healthy and delicious. And we love the food in the village because it's organic food, it's local food, it's delicious food. Then we come to town, and in Zambia, because we have the South African influence,
Mm-hmm.
there's all kinds of Western food here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in town right now. We've eaten pizza. But it's from an Italian man's restaurant, and it's Italian pizza with herbs that he's grown. And I just feel like food in Africa is sensationally delicious.
Yes.
The problem is quantity and availability. Sometimes you can have money, but that doesn't mean you can get food. And that's where you come to the very hard human truth that food is more important than money, which I think is a truth that a lot of human beings haven't realized. Money doesn't always buy you food, but if you have food, then you don't really need money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Heather, I want to be respectful of your time as well, because you need to turn your attention to your daughter. And let me propose this. This, for me, has been a wonderful conversation, a great learning experience, exactly what I had expected and hoped for. I just marvel at our technology. Sure, we had some interruptions today, but you're on the other side of the planet and we're having a conversation. And we forget how blessed we are. So for those who invented the phrase Zoom fatigue, I say, you're crazy. This is a gift. And so, first of all, thank you for doing this. And if you'd like a part B, C, or D, I'm available. and we could try different venues if you're interested. So I will post this on YouTube today. It will be posted also on LinkedIn and Twitter. And if you can use this to aid your fundraising efforts, all the better. But I do this because it's a great way for us to exchange information and to learn from each other. And I'm the student here. You don't know this, but my business school had planned a trip to Africa this year. That's not going to happen, but I get this trip with you. I get to travel to Zambia and to visit you because of the ability to do this communication through Zoom. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Are there questions that I should have asked you today, or comments that you'd like to make that as we bring this to a close?
I am so grateful. I was excited from the time that you emailed me and asked me to do an interview.
Great.
Because I don't really, it's funny, like my newsletters are a really good outlet for me to get to write.
Yes.
But it's also nice to be able to talk.
Yes.
And our children are basically extensions of ourselves.
Yes.
They're separate people than us, but at the same time, they come from us. So it's nice to have a very objective platform to talk about all this with. Thank you for being such a good interviewer.
You're welcome.
I'm available at any time, and I can make any Zoom call happen, even in the village.
Yes.
Because I have a solar panel.
Yes.
But now we went from the rainy season. Now we're winding into the cold season where the hours of daylight are less. So it's going to be harder to charge my solar panel. But anytime we can do this again.
Yeah.
Whenever you're free, I'm grateful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I can make the time. Think about the venue. I liked the room that you were in during that last conversation. And
Okay.
I dearly wish I would have recorded it, because I would have posted it had I gotten permission from my fellow committee members, because you could see all of their faces, and they were showing you, they had rapt attention. That you brought the need right to our committee, and we agree that Zoom is the way we want to conduct ourselves going forward. So there's no reason in the world why your requests or anyone else's requests can't be done in this manner. So I'm very grateful for the technology. So think about the venue and think about a particular topic that you want to convey, and we'll do this again. And we can do it for whatever period of time. It can be a series, if you will. I'm recording this as we speak. And
perfect. Okay.
That's what we'll do. And it was fun to watch your daughter climb the tree in the background. And there's a little animal now over your, I've lost you again. Well, my friends, we've lost Heather for the day, but I wanted to close with the URL of her nonprofit, which is SSAAP.org. And I encourage you to take a look at the website to see more about Heather's work, which I'm sure you'll find to be fascinating. Thank you so much for your time today.